Hey, what's good, guys? You want to know something that I find particularly interesting about the vegan community? It's their definition of the term vegan. Now, have you ever been told or have you ever observed a vegan saying, well, that person wasn't actually vegan? Veganism isn't a diet. It's not about what you eat. It has nothing to do with food at all. It is a stance against exploitation of animals, suffering, yada, yada, yada. You ever heard that? It's a pretty common thing. I've seen it and observed it a lot. Now, some people who identify as vegan and do all the vegan things, like they avoid using animal products, including clothing, any sort of like physical items, commodities, if you will. They won't eat any food that has anything to do with animals in any way, shape, or form. And you would think that person would be all vegan. Well, there's some folks in the vegan community that disagree. Apparently, there's some other hidden qualification to truly be a member of the cult, and that is being a preachy asshole. Yup, you heard me right. So if you're not a preachy asshole, then simply put, you're not vegan, which isn't something that huge amount of people in the cult believe, but it's enough where this sort of thing comes up very often. And there's a good amount of people that do condemn this, but there's also plenty that support it. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about a little dispute, some civil war happening within the vegan community itself, as well as somebody asking a very health related question, and we'll be giving our 2 cents on that as well. So I'm not exactly sure precisely where this begins because this is a screenshot, well, multiple screenshots of a little war happening. I could have gone and got the primary source, but I thought this would be good enough because it shows the only things that we really care about, the actual dispute. So there's this post about cognitive dissonance and animal cruelty, you know, typical vegan propaganda type stuff. Nothing really to see here. So Bird Lawyer 92 says, so I'm right. Thanks for the confirmation. P.S. I'm vegan. So this bird lawyer is the asshole of this situation, and you'll find that out really quickly. Doesn't take long. So this person responds, cope, X to doubt. Certainly not with that rhetoric. Plant-based maybe. Vegans by definition hold people accountable to stop exploiting animals, which you don't do. And by the way, when I say asshole, I'm talking about according to the vegan community that this person's an asshole. The rest of us, they're gonna seem much more like a normal person in comparison. Anyway, doubt it all you want. Your doubt doesn't change facts. Seems like you're the one coping here. Vegans by definition don't use animal products. That's the only requirement, and I meet it. Hope some more. And then this person responds, that's literally not what vegan means. It means you're against the exploitation of animals. I really want to add my 2 cents here, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold it until we're done. So that means I don't use animal products. We can argue semantics, but I'm right. Veganism is a lifestyle and form of activism that involves abstaining from animal products and byproducts. Vegans avoid consumed animal-derived foods like meat, fish, eggs, and dairy, and often avoid animal byproducts like gelatin and honey. They may also avoid clothing and materials made from animals like leather and wool, and products tested on animals. Veganism can be motivated by ethics, religion, environmental concerns, or personal health. Nothing here about holding people accountable, so the person I reply to is incorrect, which is the point. Now, between you and me, it seems like this person's kind of cooking, right? I mean, they have a point here. That's effectively the same thing that this person said, just in different words. It's being against the exploitation of animals. Well, how do you do that? Oh, it's simple. You don't commodify, you don't use animals products in any way, shape, or form. Therefore, you are vegan. Well, this person says, nah, that's not true. In fact, according to them, that's not the official definition. If someone doesn't use animal products for any reason other than ethics, they aren't vegan. Bruh, somebody is definitely on a moral superiority acid trip. That is absolutely 100% precisely what this is, which is, again, a common thing to observe in the vegan community. I mean, just have you noticed that the person who's getting all the upvotes are the ones fighting against the person who is saying that they are vegan and they're trying to claim that they're not? Figures. That's patently false, but okay. But here's the one from Merriam-Webster. A strict vegetarian who consumes no food, such as meat, eggs, or dairy products that comes from animals. Also, one who abstains from using animal products such as leather. Official enough, or are you gonna move the goalpost again? They respond, the official definition is the one from the Vegan Society. Any other definition is incorrect. You just keep snorting that moral superiority copium, elitist drivel. Just keep doing it, big dog. I'm sure you're gonna convert a lot of people to your shitty cause doing this. Veganism is a philosophy and way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose, and by extension promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of animals, humans, and the environment. In dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals, from your own source. Doesn't seem to say anything about outreach or motives. Want to move the goalpost again? Edit. But wait, there's more. There are many ways to embrace vegan living, yet one thing all vegans have in common is a plant-based diet, avoiding all animal foods such as meat, including fish, shellfish, and insects, dairy, eggs, and honey, as well as avoiding animal-derived materials, products tested on animals, and places that use animals for entertainment. Again, from your own source. Seems like motive doesn't matter. Yeah, let's just say this is an absolute L for veganism again. Gatekeeping your own community. How do you gatekeep someone that's already in your own community? Like, it's bizarre to me. I thought the purpose of veganism was to work towards reducing exploitation and, commodification of animals and stuff. So how is trying to push away somebody that's already in the community working towards that goal? Seems pretty counterintuitive, I think. The vegans on the subreddit don't seem to agree, however. They seem to agree with this absolute elitist junkie asshole who's trying to make veganism seem as unappealing as possible. Who wants to be a part of a cult like that, who shuns and shames their own members for literally doing the same things they do? They just don't want to go further, to go above and beyond, to make themselves a hated entity by shoving veganism up everyone's assholes. Who wants that? Nobody, right? That's what I would think. And this is one of the reasons that, vegans get laughed at a lot. It's because of these types of people, these types of gatekeepers, these elitists. They run very deep within the community, and a lot of ex-vegans, or some people who even are vegans, have encountered plenty of them, and they know the truths of all of those people out there, and they don't want to be associated with them either. And I 100% respect that. Now, obviously, yeah, the vegans can define veganism however they want to, I suppose, but I think they need to come together at the Royal Vegan Council or whatever and come up with a definite definition, one that doesn't just get to change when you decide it should change, or when it's convenient for you, or when you want to argue against someone, when you want to call somebody not vegan. That's what you guys need to figure out, man. This is why veganism, or as it's presented right now, is an absolute joke, and why it's currently seriously going nowhere. If anything, it's been going backwards for the last several years because of people like this and people like some of the vegan activists out there that we all know and despise. But anyway, that's all I really wanted to say about this particular post. Let's move on to the health one. So it's kind of a running joke, really, that vegans are willing to die for their animals, and they see that as a good thing. Like you would get a badge of honor if you perish from your health problems because you wanted to stick to veganism. And there's a lot of people on these threads that I've observed that definitely live by that. But then you get a few that are a little bit concerned about their health and they ask about it. They don't necessarily want to change anything, but then they go to the vegan subreddit and they just tell you take more supplements, but maybe the supplements aren't working for them. This person's talking about deteriorating eyesight at a very young age, which is a very clear sign of potentially vitamin A deficiency, which is an important one to talk about, because I've mentioned before that plants do not have vitamin A. They have a beta carotene that can be converted to vitamin A through your body's process. And the issue with that is 50-ish% of people have some sort of compromised conversion system, in a sense where they don't get as much conversion as somebody else does, and some people not at all. So this could be an example of somebody who just doesn't really get vitamin A from eating plants, and which would lead to you going blind, which we've talked about someone who has gone blind on a vegan diet, and it was a child who ate nothing but plants and other vegan items and literally was not getting vitamin vitamin A for certain, and that caused them to go blind. So it is a real possibility and something to be concerned about if you ever are considering going vegan. Anyway, onto the post. Choosing health over animals. Hello. I'm sure many found themselves in this tricky place before. I became vegan at 14 because I didn't want animals to suffer from my nutrition. I was vegan for 9 to 10 years. However, I was severely underweight and my blood test kept showing deficiencies even though I made an effort to eat a balanced diet. I introduced cruelty-free eggs and dairy for the past couple of years and it helped me gain a bit of weight and improve my blood test results. However, lately I'm having some issues that I believe could be related to my diet. I'm extremely tired a lot of the time, waiting for sleep apnea test results. I struggle to get results from exercise even though I'm eating enough plant protein. I get lightheaded easily, and I rarely feel full. I eat a good breakfast, and 2 hours later, I'm feeling starving and symptoms of low blood sugar. I eat something, and 2 hours later, I feel the same. That all day long. Also, my vision is declining faster than it should for my age, 26F. Lately, I've been having very intense cravings for fish. Part of me wants to reintroduce it into my diet again. Another part is afraid that my health issues might have nothing to do with my diet and I will be eating animals for no good reason. I'd love to know your insights if anyone found themselves in a similar situation. It's not a tricky situation at all. It's not complicated in the slightest. It's actually very simple. You just eat what your body needs. And clearly you need an entire food group that you've cut out. It's not that difficult. It's very, 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 very obvious. Now, I can't say definitively that this is a diet-related issue. It definitely sounds like it. I'm sure this person has probably gotten this hint. I'm assuming from some sort of doctor. I mean, how do they know that their eyesight is declining at a faster rate than it should be at their age? I'm assuming they probably got that information from a healthcare professional. So, with that being said, it's likely some sort of nutrient deficiency. I already brought up vitamin A, but there are others too that contribute to your eye health, and you know, you could be lacking those in a vegan diet too. It wouldn't surprise me. Now, this comment about like eating fish or whatever and not necessarily finding out that it is the issue and saying that you did it for no good reason. No, you did it for a good reason. Even if it turned out it wasn't the problem, you still did it for a good reason because you were being health conscious and you were trying to fix your health. That in and of itself would be the reason that you did it, which is a good reason. To do something that is A, not illegal, and 2, not unethical, as much as vegans would love to believe that it is unethical, it's not. To do that when it comes at expense of some fish, sure, that could be troubling, daunting to you, I imagine, and I understand that. Your health is also extremely important. We are omnivores. It is a part of our being to consume animal products. So yes, you could continue to deny your biology, your chemistry, and everything that you are as a human being and put your health at risk, or you could try to do something that may actually help you. The choice is yours, of course, and it's for you to decide. Now, the comments here, I would say, are fairly helpful. There's a couple we're going to read. There's one in particular I found interesting. They were a little bit meaner, but they do say some valuable, very truthful things that this person definitely should hear. So this person says, you can try it for 6 months. If no improvement to your health, then you'll have proven your vegan diet wasn't to blame for your health issues. You can always return to vegetarian. However, with multiple deficiencies in nutrients that are more bioavailable in meat, would suggest maybe you do need it. Fish, bivalves, I don't even know what that is. Chicken with skin on, more eggs, and perhaps a small amount of red meat, particularly liver, would be a good start, particularly for vitamin A, collagen, B12, iron, and more. I eat 3 or 4 meat meals per week, eggs and dairy once a day at breakfast, and the other half of my meals and all snacks are veg. And my health markers are at my ideal as a 43-year-old woman. Vegan wasn't great for my overall health. Red meat is maybe 2 meals per month, usually around my period. So this person seems to have definitely chosen a very good diet to recover from their vegan episodes that they've clearly had. Obviously, this is the ex-vegan thread. A lot of people have been vegan at some point, and most of them experience some sort of health complications leading to them quitting. So this person had some very good first-hand advice from their experience that I think genuinely could help this individual. Now, this is a comment that kind of describes a little mean, but it does highlight some really important things that people in the vegan community they ignore, honestly, and they allow these things to exist and they act like it's normal when they absolutely should not be. Veganism is a dogma based on a moral viewpoint. Your health is simply a secondary concern. the animals come first. Becoming a martyr and sacrificing your health for the animals is seen as noble to some vegans. The second you start putting your health first, you're already in conflict with this ideology, which is extremely true, and it's disappointing, to say the least. Like, how can you save the animals if you're dead, but they don't really think about that, nor do they care? I'm a firm believer there's no one perfect diet that works for everyone. We all have different genetics with ancestors that adapted to different diets. It's up to each individual to experiment to find out which foods they thrive on and which ones hurt them. I'm intolerant to a lot of plants. I know for certain a vegan diet would kill me after a long period of deterioration. Someone else whose ancestors had to survive on a limited availability of meat may appear to do just fine on a vegan diet, or at the least, they may appear fine for a while until they don't. Now, if you guys noticed, maybe you didn't, but this person has the carnivore tag, and you know, if you've been watching my videos for some time, especially my recent one, you know I do talk about the carnivore diet and talk about the implications of that and how it can be very detrimental for a person's health. Now, I also made the exception that there are also people out there who just really don't do well eating plants. That's a real thing, it's true. Some people have a very hard time digesting plants, pulling nutrients from plants. Plants are, if anything, more of a detriment to them than it is a benefit. Now, those people are few and far in between, and my suggestion for people like that is to just eat healthy fats, healthy proteins, healthy meats, all that stuff. Most fish that we eat regularly can be very good for you. Usually like regular whitefish, salmon, even shellfish. Then of course you have like your lean proteins like your chicken and things closely related to that. Now obviously I don't demonize red meat, like, oh, you should never eat it. It's just one of those things to have in moderation because they are very high in those like saturated fats and cholesterol and things, which aren't things that you want to have an insane abundance of in your body. You do need it to a degree, so it's not a bad idea to chow down on some steak every now and then. Totally up to you. But that's just my advice for people that fall into those categories. But anyway, so this person talking about like the martyr thing, right? That the vegan community, a lot of them would like to see you sacrifice your health. Like I've seen that before. Somebody came in asking for advice, you know, saying that, you know, they had been vegan for a long time and they were suffering from severe iron deficiency, and they were asking for help because the only thing that seemed to work was eating animal products. Like their supplements weren't doing it. Eating, you know, leafy greens and stuff like that that are higher in iron wasn't doing it. The only thing that was working for them was eating animal products, and they're trying to get advice, trying to see what they could do to avoid doing this. And instead of actually getting any genuine help, they just kind of shit talked the guy and shamed them and tried to make them feel bad. So they did not have this guy's best interest at heart. It's pretty sad. If you're interested in hearing about that, just put it in the comments, and in the next video I'll be sure to talk about it. Anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you did enjoy, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. Until next time.